You're listening to the G.O.A.T Pod. This is a podcast where we discuss the best-selling albums of all time. Hosted by Jason Purrier, Stephen Schott, Daniel Brown, and me, Jared Slusher. Now let's go ahead and dive into today's episode.
Good evening. Welcome to this podcast.
Wow, that was scary.
So
we're getting close to October, aren't we? Jason's getting a little spooky.
We're getting our spooky season. So I'm doing the math over here, and I'm counting 4 people, and I didn't count myself. So,
oh my goodness!
Someone entered the chat.
Jared had a baby.
What? Already? You didn't tell us.
I didn't even know.
I didn't even know Jarrett was pregnant.
Father help.
Oh my gosh.
Jarrett, can you introduce our special guest today?
Yeah, so our special guest is one of my good friends from Florida, Drew A. Smith.
Wow.
Greetings.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
salutations.
Welcome.
Is it short for Andrew or just Drew yourself?
It's just Drew.
Okay.
Drullium
See?
is
Short
actually
for Drew.
Drullium.
Drullium.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Well, we are back. It's been a break, not a long break, but it's been a break.
It's been
Kind of. I don't know. It depends on when you're listening to this. But I wanted to start us out with a little callback to our bonus episode as our icebreaker, and we'll start with our new guest and our special friend Beans, who missed out on all the fun in the same way that I missed out on the Dirty Dancing fun. So y'all get to start out, and then we'll go to the rest of y'all.
Sweet.
What is your favorite movie score? But it has to be like not score.
movie soundtrack.
Movie soundtrack, and it has to be like a compilation album. So we're not counting like something that's like all the same artist wrote all the music, or
Like
like
The Greatest
like
Showman,
the Hot
like a
Ones.
musical.
We can't
Lion
do that.
King, or yeah.
What is your
West Side Story.
favorite?
So Flash Gordon is out.
Yeah.
Yes, Flash Gordon is out.
Okay.
Exactly. And here's what I'll do. I said I was going to let y'all start, but I want to let y'all think. I'm going to say the one that I thought was crazy. I don't know if it's my favorite. I just think it's fantastically wonderful.
I'll pull
And
it
we
up.
mentioned it on the bonus pod, but the Happy Feet soundtrack goes
Yeah.
way too hard for its own good.
It starts
So-
with Prince,
And it ends with what's his name?
not Robin Williams. John Powell.
John Powell. Yeah, it starts with Prince, it ends with John Powell, and
Wow.
Robin Williams has a song in there somewhere. So
It's
do with that as
I'm
you
hot
wish.
dog.
it's a wild. It
I gotta check
it's
that
wild.
out.
Yeah. All right. Do you have a favorite soundtrack?
I think I'm gonna go with Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Ooh,
You got-
we didn't
I
even
don't-
mention that last one. That
I
should have been
know.
mentioned.
Man,
You
That's
got
incredible.
You got Star Wars in there, which I don't know if that
Yep.
counts, but you got the
That
Beatles.
counts.
You got what is it? Shake It Up, Baby, whatever that is. Wayne
I'm
Newton.
pulling
Twist and shout.
Twist and Shout. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wayne Newton, and then you got the classic, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's good. It's right with it. Right with it.
What a time. What an amazing dude. Danke schön. Awesome.
Yes.
Oh,
Like
So good.
the number of times I have like yelled that throughout the house because of Ferris Bueller.
You're a fun guy to live with.
How did you know?
oh, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just guessing.
That was an incredible pick. Beans,
Yes.
what do you have for us?
Well, I didn't know it was a bonus episode when I answered this question last.
Surprise.
So I wouldn't have. Yeah, I thought it was the real deal. But I think I said what was the Bastille song? I already forgot that song. It was I'm just gonna say the Suicide Squad soundtrack.
Hey.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
It was really
We
good.
said
It
that.
had
That's a good
Imagine
one.
Dragons,
Yeah.
Little Wayne,
The little
and
Well,
and actually I had a cover of a song that we have reviewed on this podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
The name of which I am forgetting.
Which
You
one?
You
don't
don't
own
own
me.
me.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
we did do that one.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did that one.
Suicide is the new Dirty Dancing. That's what I'm hearing.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. What did I say? Just Suicide.
just suicide, which is not
Or,
Dirty Dancing.
so we can say it on Instagram, unaliving squad, because you can't
Yeah.
because you can't say certain words on that Instagram
Gang.
live.
Yeah,
we're not on,
Suicide
so-
Squad's crazy because it's got Sucker for Pain with Heathens right after it,
Yeah.
and it's like it's an absolutely incredible soundtrack. Totally
It's
totally
good.
agree.
Now that we're on it, Dan, what do you got? What's your top?
My top was probably Guardians Volume 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Jarrett, you can't say it even if it was yours. You have to pick a different one. But
And I said this in our little bonus ep, but it's also, what I'm going to say here, because why not? The Chain.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of the other song.
You would.
Father and Son. Yusuf and Cat Stevens. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Cat Stevens, what a guy, what a feller.
The Chain is. You're talking about the Fleetwood Mac
Oh, yeah.
song?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it a
Creedence
cover
Clearwater.
on that album?
No,
or is it a,
no, it's just Fleetwood Mac.
cover. Oh, that's a tremendous song. I love
Yes.
It's a wonderful.
It's
song.
Mr. Blue Sky. It's Fox on the Run. It's The Chain. It's Brandy. It's Come a Little Bit Closer. Wham Bam Shang-a-Lang. I mean, holy cow. Surrender.
Many people don't realize that Fox on the Run was the prequel to Band on the Run.
A lot of people don't realize.
Even the authors didn't realize it. But Jared,
Well, and Father and Son. I'm just skipping over what Jason just said. Father and Son with Yandu's death.
Ooh.
And like everybody like
I didn't even know he was
saluting
sick.
no, it was more sudden than that. So
he was ill but not sick.
He was Michael Jackson sick.
yeah.
Hee hee.
So all right, Jarrett, what do you have? You have to not do Guardians 2. So you
Yeah,
have to
do
pick
you
something.
do?
Fine. I was also thinking of maybe the Chipmunks the Squeakquel, but I'm gonna go with another sequel, and that is Shrek 2.
Yeah. Oh, and he's got it
You
on
got the
physical
album.
copy. This is an album podcast, so we need to have them physical
That's
copies.
fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got
What's some?
Accidentally in Love by the Counting Crows, Holding Out for a Hero by Frou Frou.
So good.
Yes.
Let's see. Livin' La Vida Loca by
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy and Antonio
It-
Banderas,
Puss and Donkey
which is
Dog.
not who originally do it, but it's great
so
that they do it.
good.
Wait,
It's
I didn't-
So much.
good.
Edward Murphy did that?
Yeah,
Yes.
or
Yes.
Donkey and Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
They're professional stage names.
Isn't Live and
see.
Let Die also in that? Or is it Shrek the Third? That's the third. Never mind.
That's the third
Disregard.
one.
Funky Town's
Well-
in that one, right?
Funky Town's in that one.
Yeah, by Lips Inc.
I think
Incorporated.
that's a solid set of soundtracks. And Jared, I'm sorry that I had to give you a hard pill to swallow there by switching over to a different album, but we're gonna deal with a hard pill to swallow, or in this case, a jagged little pill.
Ooh,
By
segue.
Is it Alanis? I always
Alanis
flip-flop.
Morissette.
It's Atlanta.
Sounds like a wizard.
Atlantis.
whoever it is.
It's like Atlantis, but without the T.
The Lost City of
Atlantis
Atlantis.
Morissette.
Lanny, if you're in a
has
nickname.
Lost at Sea.
I'm gonna lose it now. 26.4
Look, you're forcing me to
million.
record at 10:45. You get what you get.
26.4 million certified and 33 million claimed copies. And yeah, so that's what we got on the how much has been sold. So a lot of copies. So Jarrett, let me send it to you. Give us some background info. Let us get inside this album.
Yeah. So Jagged Little Pill released June 13th of 1995, before all of us were born.
Yeah.
I want to, if you know the answer, don't say anything. But for those of you who don't know how old Alanis Morissette is when this comes out, how old do you think this is? Or
35.
how old do you think she was when this came out?
36.
When this came out,
Oh,
Steven said 36. Locked
22.
in. 20.
22.
22. Okay.
I don't know. I think she was. I'm gonna go something crazy and go like not 4. I don't think she's 4 years old.
She
She's
was
very mature
4
for her
years
age.
Gosh, probably 20.
Okay. So it came out when she was 21, but was recorded when she was 19 and 20.
Wow.
Okay, that makes sense. I can track with that.
But it does. She sounds older than 20. So that's
She sounds like she's experienced more of life than most 20-year-olds have.
yeah, much like a 36-year-old would, as Steven said.
Yeah.
But
To be completely honest, I thought she sounded like she was like 17 or 18.
Oh,
And
interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was guessing up at 22. I thought I was high. And I was high, but not by much.
She is a bit squeaky as a teenager might be,
I don't know.
but it's squeaky in a very nice way, I think.
Yeah. So this is her third studio album. She released 2 earlier when she was like late high school, which were more like dance pop, like 80s kind of sounding. Did that with MCA Records Canada for a 2-album contract, and then broke away from that and decided to move to the great big city of Toronto, which is in
Nice.
Canada.
Yeah, the big city.
Which I
The
should say
Big Apple.
before. She is Canadian, so lived up there, and then later moved to LA and recorded this album at Westlake and Signet Sound, which is in West Hollywood. And this was produced by Glenn Ballard, who has worked with Michael Jackson, Wilson Phillips, Earth, Wind and Fire, Paula Abdul, and many others. But essentially, they met, had an instant connection, and they wrote a lot of songs. And I heard her say, or saw somewhere in an interview where she wrote these songs kind of like journalistically. Like she would never really come out and say some of these things to people like a normal conversation, but in dealing with a lot of stuff, she just wrote what her feelings were, and this is what we got.
Sounds like Twitter.
Yeah. Or X,
Yeah.
formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
The artist
Threads?
formerly known as
We
Twitter.
using threads now? Well, okay. Let's keep it rocking. And you didn't even know, but since he's here on the pod, I want to get him involved.
Yeah.
Drucifer,
Yes.
can you please
Whoa.
give us the track listing today? And if you don't know it, it's in the show notes. You can
go
follow
for it,
it.
Julian.
All right. I'm
Let's hear it.
accessing my photographic memory banks. All right, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your mind palace.
So we got All I Really Want, You Ought to Know, Perfect, which is pretty good. Hand in My Pocket.
For those of you just listening, he looked at me dramatically and then looked back at the camera.
It's all right.
Hand in My Pocket, Right Through You. Thank you, Jarrett. Forgiven. He put his hand in my pocket.
Okay.
Without my consent, but you don't need my consent.
The consent was tacit.
Yes, it was implied.
My pleasure.
Right
Welcome to the
Through You.
G.O.A.T. Pod unhinged version.
And then we're moving on with Forgiven, You Learn, Head Over Feet. Head Over Feet. Mary Jane, Ironic, Not the Doctor, and Wake Up. And maybe a bonus track. If
Little hidden track.
Yeah, maybe a little hidden track. You Ought to Know, Your House, a cappella version, maybe. I don't know if we're going over
It's
those.
pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
I just want to say I'm reading along with us, and I completely read Jimmy Buffett, and it's Jimmy the same blend. I straight up was like, wait,
That's-
when was Jimmy Buffett?
Could you
on here?
imagine Jimmy Buffett mixing You Ought to Know?
That would be crazy.
It's
Yeah.
like Cheeseburger in Paradise meets teenage angst.
Well, that's the combination we've been needing since the beginning.
That's just SpongeBob.
Well, all I know, that might have been one of our greatest track listings. Yeah, so thank you, Drew. You know the Muffin Man. let us get on some lyrics and themes. Steven,
Ironic
kick us
or, like,
off,
iconic?
but we'll get to everybody in some regard. What do we got on these lyrics and themes here?
Yeah, well, it seems like a lot of them were about former relationships and breakups, and they were sort of that was the person that they were talking to in the lyrics, and sort of almost wishing them the best, but also not liking them and hating them a lot too. But it's this was '95, so it was any excuse that I have to bring up Nirvana, I'm going to. So this was 1 year after the short-lived rocket ship that was Nirvana, and it seems like there's a lot of sort of elements of grunge and imperfection that is also beautiful in a lot of these lyrics and songs. So I quite enjoyed a lot of them. But what did you guys think? What were your impressions?
Yeah, well, for being 4 years before Toy Story 2, I thought there's a lot of
Any excuse to insert Toy Story 2 for Jared.
Out here, like, wasn't that the same year as Toy Story 1? And we're going to say 4 years.
I think so.
Yeah, it was the same year as Toy Story 1. But we're going to talk about it in relation to Toy Story 2, everybody.
15 years before Toy Story 3. Don't even get me started.
Oh my gosh.
Man. But no, there's definitely a lot of angst, definitely a lot of relationship stuff. I think it's weird because I think I'm trying to look back at all the different breakup albums we've talked about so far, like 21 by Adele, Forget Not Slow Down, by Reliant K.
Yes.
Who else? Maybe it's just those two. But even with those two, like each breakup album has its own kind of DNA and is different from each other.
Metallica,
yeah, I was going to say.
I may have misinterpreted.
Yeah.
No,
Break up with everyone
no,
around
no.
you.
That was a breakup album.
Break
That was a
up with
breakup
society.
album. Yeah. The Wall, breakup from the system.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're
Sgt.
shit.
Pepper
We
breakup
might
from the Beatles.
Breakup
might be
from
reaching
reality. It's for sure a big old breakup album.
Yeah.
But you get some different themes as you get later into the album, particularly in You Learn. That's like super, like, okay, well, you've experienced hurt. Go live.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the chorus literally just goes, you live, you learn, you cry, you learn, you lose, you learn, you bleed, you learn, you scream, you learn. Like,
You learn,
it's
you
just
learn.
like, great, experience it, move on, experience it, pick yourself up, let's go.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, like, there's all of these verses have a whole lot of, like, I recommend you do something that's insane. I recommend you do something that's crazy, that's going to teach you. I recommend you bite off more than you can chew, sticking your foot in your mouth, just like all of these different things. It's like, why would I intentionally do that?
Yeah.
Jared, how did I know that you were going to do that?
See,
Jared looked down at his foot meaningfully.
it sounds
first-
like
How
she
much
just.
can I put legally?
Jared,
Ask,
he's
Quentin
he's a
Tarantino.
size, like, he's a pretty big
I'm a
foot.
size 15.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, but
that's quite
don't
a feat.
recommend it, but I would learn. You would learn something.
and that's
learn
the
today.
point.
Yeah.
It's one of those albums that's definitely like a Snickers album. Like, you're not you when you're hungry. So, like, you know what I mean?
Well put.
I get you. I get
Like,
you.
Yeah.
Track with me.
Sneakers album.
I get you out of
Speak to me.
convenience store.
Speak to me.
So, but like the idea of like, hey, you need to get out of those things that are causing you to just like way down. And so it's not moving away from the things, but moving through the things, getting past it.
Yeah.
Don't hide from it. Yeah.
Don't hide from it.
Yeah.
Well,
Press
let me.
on.
Anybody else? I was gonna pass it on to Dan. Let's get into some musicalities. What do we see in the music here?
Okay. Two main things that I've got, and I'll pass it to y'all. But like,
Okay.
so I loved that You Ought to Know had 2 Red Hot Chili Peppers in it.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
You Ought to Know had where did I just see it? Rats?
I know it had one.
It's over here. It had two.
Which ones?
Where the frick?
You should have already had this pulled up, man.
I had it pulled up and I don't know where it went. Hold on. It had Dave Navarro.
Oh.
He's from Jane's
And-
Addiction.
He was also in Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Impossible.
Wasn't he
Look it up.
also
Look it up.
in the Foo Fighters?
He was.
Exactly.
That was
No,
a
that
deep
was-
cut.
that-
A callback
and
from
also
That's a
the
pre-recording
bassist
cut.
Flea, unprofessionally known as Michael Balzari, but professionally known as Flea, who is also a member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or maybe former. I'm not sure. He was at one point a member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
He was. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he started Jane's Addiction, left, went to Red Hot Chili Peppers, left, went back to Jane's Addiction.
Yep.
Is he the one that was in Back to the Future?
Maybe.
What?
Someone else I'm thinking of.
He was an actor as well. He might have been in Back to the Future.
Maybe. I'm learning everything today. It's not even about Alanis.
He was in everything, I guess.
He was in everything.
By
Another
Lifehouse?
thing that I found fascinating about this album. Well, first, it was expected only to sell enough for Morissette to make a follow-up. It was not expected to do well. The studio
wow.
that did all of this, they didn't expect it to last at all until it was played on KROQM out of Pasadena, California.
K-Rocky.
That radio played You Ought to Know constantly. And it got a ton of attention because it was way different than what was being played before. It had themes that were not normal. It had, as it says in Wikipedia, scathing and explicit lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was just, and it just took the market by storm, and it got #1 in so many countries. This album did.
I think it's the only song with the E sticker on Spotify.
I think that's right.
That's, man.
Let's see.
Yeah, you know, when
too.
I don't think I'd ever.
The Jimmy Buffett blend is also
It's two of the same song.
yeah.
Jimmy the Saint.
I don't think I had ever listened to You Ought to Know like all the way through. I remember listening to Kevin Malone sing it in karaoke in The Office, which he does a great job. He does a great cover of it. I would
check it out.
definitely recommend it.
Great Alanis impersonation.
Yeah,
Link
but
not in the description.
it's even funnier because he had to have sung the lyrics. Well, I don't even know if I want to. It was the lyric with the F word in it.
Yeah.
Do you think of me when
You.
you flub her? Yeah.
Yeah. Great
Which
movie.
when
Flubber,
I think of
great
Kevin singing that lyric, it makes me laugh until I die.
But you're still alive.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was very, very explicit R-rated lyrics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
so this album also hit #1 in weekly charts of 16, I believe, different countries.
That's
Wow.
Australia,
more than 50.
Belgium, Canada, Danish. Their top chart is called Hit Listen.
Flippin' flurpin'.
No, it's called Hit Listen. The Dutch albums.
I feel like that's
other
illegal to say. I feel like you can't say that.
Oh, the
albums,
hit listed.
Finnish
scares me.
albums, and it was done there at #1. The Finnish albums, Irish albums, New Zealand albums, Portuguese, Scottish, Swedish, the UK, and the US Billboard 200.
Man.
Neat.
Hit listing. That's crazy. That's
We can use that in the future.
Them Scandinavians really be finishing the mountains.
Sweden.
Well, y'all got more stuff? Let me leave it open to pod.
Hey, any hot takes, Jason?
Oh, any hot takes? I thought you'd never ask. Well,
I will say real quick, the harmonica is played by Alanis herself.
Oh, that's cool.
She's responsible for all the vocals, obviously, and the harmonica.
Yeah.
Speaking of vocals, doesn't she? Am I the only one who got Britney Spears vibes in some of her vocals? I don't mean to imply that she
like the breathiness, like
yes,
Yeah.
and like the heavy breaths at random,
Like a young
spots. Not
singer.
random.
yeah,
I
like
can't say I got that vibe.
well,
but-
you know, I
see what you're getting at though. It's it's not a tone thing. It's a how she's taking her breaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll give, before I get into my hot takes, like I thought like the recording, the production of this album, really, really high quality across the board. The mix was like really well set for every song. And I'm usually most critical of the production side, but this one definitely not that.
Yeah,
my beef,
quite good.
my beef. I don't have it broken down into things, so it might be a ramble. My beef is, if somebody else sang this album, I would enjoy it a whole lot more. I did not enjoy her voice in the slightest.
Okay.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling.
Yeah, there's the youngness, and I think that's why I thought I was overshooting with 22. There was just a lot of like parts of her voice that were just not there yet, and you could hear it in spots that I think they left it in because you see the rawness in it, but in like the technical sense, like it wasn't a stylistic choice, but something she couldn't do with her voice yet. And you listen to older Alanis Morissette stuff, which I went to listen to some of it, like her voice grows in those ways. And so that's one thing that I'm like, man, if she had grown her voice in some different spots, I think it would have done so much better. And then the second thing, and I think this might just be my thing, this is like my least favorite type of 90s music that's ever come out. I'm super into the grungy. I'm super like love Nirvana, love like other.
I can
like,
tell by looking at
indie.
you. You're that grunge guy.
The guy.
Wow.
I'm just that guy.
The hair
I
decides
didn't even
it.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
the hair
know
decides
that
it.
thing was on the back
Who
of your
knew?
head.
Who knew?
It's Voldemort.
Oh no.
My dark side comes out.
No visual for anyone listening right now.
Oh Jesus.
Oh,
No, not him. He's not there.
not him.
Well, he's
Hopefully, somewhere.
He is he who must be named.
Amen.
But yeah, no, I just
You keep that
across
hand all the way
board,
raised, Jarrett.
It felt
No hit list in here.
yeah. I don't know. It just felt like a lot of the songs were just a lot of the same, with just different lyrics. A lot of similar like beat structures, builds, and so forth. That was just like cool. I could listen to one of them. I was struggling to listen to an album of them. And there's definitely like some iconic songs, but I don't know if there's songs that are like per se great songs. They're just memorable. And so like, and I don't know if they're memorable because they're great, but because of just how they are.
Okay.
You know, a lot of these I was gonna say a lot of these songs, almost every song felt like an anthem.
Yes.
Which did get monotonous. And
there was maybe
was
two, one in the middle and one towards the end. I'm trying to remember which ones that were less anthemy. They were more subdued.
Yeah.
But most of them had that kind of quiet start to big and then didn't change dynamics once it was big and just stayed for a long time. It might go to a quiet verse, but then right back to big without a lot of dynamic shifts. And then across the board, it seemed great for a very niche like thing. But because it didn't have a wide variety of stuff or feel like, oh no, we're in like a story that goes from start to finish, that's obviously going to have its own theme. It was just a lot of songs kind of at that same that same vibe throughout. And then just the voice, just it was like, I see where you're getting to, and there were some spots like she killed it. There were definitely spots where she killed, but I felt like it didn't hold the weight that when I listened to it, I kind of was like, wow, how did this make this list? In more of just, it felt like an okay album. There wasn't something about it that I was like, oh, this is incredible, like in its time, above and beyond anything that's ever been seen before.
Yeah.
It just felt like a okay indie album. That's probably my biggest beef with it all. It's just how it made it here. So that is, I definitely know it's a hot take because clearly it got here. So
we're talking about it, baby.
it wasn't people like me listening to this album because I would have turned it off after track 2.
You weren't even bored.
Yeah.
See, exactly. So she put it out at the right time because it wouldn't have hit with me.
Yeah, I feel like as an album, I agree with you. Like, I don't know how it got as like the best-selling album of all time, or one of the best-selling albums of all time. But as based on the singles, I can understand how those like ascended the charts, like Ironic and You Ought to Know, and the ones that did that anthem style the best, and they were super catchy and all that. I can see how those got to the charts. But as an album, like a full album of just that, it's kind of, I think I agree with you.
I think that's one thing to remember as well that you kind of brought up, Steven, like the not like heaviness, but the popularity of singles themselves on an album, especially during the 90s where there was like the CD boom was rising during this time. Like for us today, if we want to listen to like a new song that came out, we like go to Spotify, stream it, whatever. Like 10 years ago, we would have bought it on iTunes for like $1. But we weren't like, oh yeah, let's buy this whole album just to listen to this one song.
Yeah.
But back then in the 90s, to listen to the song, like you had the CD singles for sure. But most cases, if like you wanted to listen to the song, you would buy the whole album. So
or you waited while watching MTV until it came on and then started your VCR at just the right time to record the music video for that one song.
You waited.
You had that one song.
Waited for 4 a.m. on Sunday morning to watch Welcome to the Jungle for the first time.
And then you ran through a wall. You're ready.
Yeah.
Put me in.
Then you became Shesterkin. No, you scored on Shesterkin. Okay. My bad.
Igor. All right. That's my hot takes.
That's a take.
Let's just say the last hot take will not be a surprise when we get there.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, hey, if you're listening and
I know where this is going,
you absolutely disagree with Jason, please let us know. Please comment, roast us on Instagram, DM us there.
And we'll put Jason's address and phone number in the comment.
His work address. We know his schedule. You'll get it.
I think I'm with you with a lot of that, Jason. And this is I should preface this by saying I'm a layman. I'm not a musical guru in any way.
Hey, we're all laymen's here.
Knowledgeable about such subject matter.
4 or 5 average guys.
Yeah, I think a lot of it did sound samey, and I am not a fan of the way that what I thought was a conscious manipulation of her voice. It didn't hit. It didn't hit with me.
Yeah, it didn't seem natural. It didn't seem authentic.
It did not.
A little bit, at times at least.
I can see that.
Which also, just because he's being quiet, because I know he loves it, I'm surprised you didn't say more, Dan, about the curse of singing, because it was a whole host of curse of singing.
Yeah.
Cursive singing? What's that?
Yeah, what is? I don't know.
I needed to not think about that, otherwise I wouldn't listen to the album.
See?
And there's enough that I went back to, particularly in some of the singles. Like, I think You Learn is the closest we get to true lyricism in this album.
I'm fine. I'm good with that.
But the rest of it, I think, is spoken word.
Yes.
Like, if you really want to get into it.
Yes.
It's spoken word with a bit of a melody to it. But I think, and I'd have to do some real research. I'm going to say something, and I don't have the data or the knowledge or the research to really back this up, but it might have set up the indie genre well. Bringing forth some of these like different tonal structures, and this is it's not super lyrical, and a lot of listening to it was nostalgia because I grew up hearing it. I grew up hearing all these songs, and You Ought to Know and Ironic and You Learn are bangers in my mind, but not because of any lyricism that is or is not there. There's a lot of cursive singing.
You want to also hear a crazy one? Y'all ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
If you know the answer, don't say it. This is out there for everybody else. How many octaves do you think she's singing through this whole album?
Gosh, I think 1.5.
All right, we got a guess for 1.5.
I'm gonna say 1.
1. Any other guesses?
2.
Bro, I don't
It was
know.
exactly 1 octave. She sang between B4 and B5.
I win. Give me my
This
prize.
whole
Exactly. The
Yeah,
whole album.
The
B4
albums
to
that had
B5.
us like jamming in our seats, like Celine Dion and Welcome to the Jungle, like that was octaves. It moved us.
Yeah. And not to say you can't do stuff with static melodies. Like you can do a lot of wonderful stuff with static melodies. But if your whole vocal range is fitting in 1 octave, another reason that I was like, it feels like a young voice is she just really stuck in that one slot.
And I'm sure that explains why a lot of it sounded sort of monotonous throughout the album.
As
a whole.
If you jump between songs, you're pretty close key range.
Yeah.
No matter what song you jump to. So, all right.
The biggest jump she has is in You Ought to Know.
Yep.
You?
You. All right, let's get to it. What do we got on music videos? Did we do some research on these at any point?
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Think about the 90s. Imagine that. And then whatever's in your head, that's right. The music videos.
I know You Ought to Know, that was the first single that was released. So the lead single, it is basically her showcasing that she's a different artist than when she was a teenager.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning she's dressed, and I'm going to get it switched now that I'm thinking about it. How she dresses in the beginning is in one color, and then how she dresses at the end of the music video is the opposite color. I forget if it's black in the beginning and then white, or white in the black. But when she was a teenage pop star, she wore basically all of one color and was like that, like dance pop, like we're all gonna have fun kind of stuff. Obviously I've not listened to her like first 2 albums, so I don't know exactly what she talks about. We just watched How I Met Your Mother the other day, and it's the episode where one of the characters was apparently a teenage pop star. So I just ran with that.
Robin Sparkles, y'all.
But so that video was showcasing one like complete change in artistry and a little bit of maturity.
Yeah. No, I'm rocking with that. All right. Well, let's go for it.
In You Learn, as Jarrett was talking, I went and rewatched the first minute of this music video.
You would.
And it's her walking out onto the fire escape of her New York apartment, climbing down, walking into the middle of this street where 2 cars almost hit her and then just don't. And then the next frame is a car accident.
That's crazy.
Like that, it's not this car accident. She like comes through and walks over it, but she walks through this. It's just so like walking through a song and whatever is happening around you. I don't know who wrote this or directed this music video, but it is so 90s.
Yeah.
And the coloring of it is very 90s. Like the blues and the reds in this are so typical of the 90s. It's hilarious to me.
Hand in My Pocket shows what it's like if you have a set of identical quadruplets.
That's right.
Really?
You don't say.
There's 4 of her.
Oh, okay.
I was doing the math there. I got it.
But
It's like the seasons of the year.
yeah.
All right, let's get to it. Faves, least faves. We'll start with.
I'm
with
sorry,
least
that was
faves.
ironic. Not hand in my pocket.
That's ironic. So let's go with least faves. Who wants to start us off? Let's guess first. Drew, what's your least fave?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's weird because, well, first of all, I'm not a lot of the songs were just very heavy, and I prefer music that is like
Elevator music.
elevator music. Yeah, that's
Wow,
what we kind of
that's-
figured out today. Or I like stuff that is uplifting, and it's like, man, this is like very angsty.
That wasn't a
very-
dig. We talked about it earlier
yeah,
today.
we agreed on it. That's just my vibe. That's my jam. So I'm
when,
not
when
a
people
I'm
ask
not
you
a
what
fan
kind of
of
music do you listen to, you don't say everything. You say elevator music.
I'm going to moving forward. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's better than saying I listen to everything except rap.
Wow.
Oh gosh.
Take that, Drake.
It's rap and country. I always get the short end of the stick.
Oh my gosh.
So I definitely leaned more towards the more upbeat, more positive songs.
Boo.
Yeah, it's just me.
Steven's
Which
favorite
one
album
was
so
it?
far is The Wall, if that gives you any idea.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of happiness and feeling
For those
good.
for those wondering, their stage names, Steven and Drew, are actually Yin and Yang.
Yeah, yep.
So,
I'm down.
Makes sense.
You can be Yang.
Indeed. Okay, cool. The Avatar, almost. I'm Aang's brother. It's the naming conventions work differently. Anyway, Head Over Feet. I was like, okay, I like the way this sounds. I kind of like the that it's like a sort of sappy, love song. But that line does not land for me when she says "head over feet." That kills the whole song for me. I hate that. It just does not work. I do like head over.
Love
Okay,
it.
you got me. And she says feet, and I'm like, oh, yikes.
Ugh,
I just don't like it.
You mean like
I'm pretty
normal?
head over toes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it just doesn't. I don't know.
how do you feel about the phrase "head over heels"?
Head over heels works.
Okay,
But
good.
it feels forced, and it feels like that could have used a couple more drafts, I think, and you could have refined that.
Head over leg.
The phrasing a little bit. To sound
Dude,
a little
there's
more
a-
poetic,
I,
a little more
hey,
elegant.
I'm with you in the sense. If you've ever seen the new Disney movie Wish, there's a song, and it's like instead of saying "throw caution to the wind," it says "throw caution to every warning sign."
Oh,
And it's just like,
it's not. It's clunky.
which also doesn't make any sense because you're supposed to give caution to warning signs.
Yeah,
So like
That's the point.
this,
you learn.
You learn.
Oy. But
so I'm with you.
yeah.
I
So that's me. Do I do my favorite one now too?
no,
Or-
we'll
get
come
to
back
that.
around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep it in the room. Jarrett, what you got?
Nice. I'm gonna go with "Forgiven," and it's not because like I don't like the music. It's more like the subject matter. Like as being someone in ministry, like I don't like seeing that position. Like people fall short in that area and in that kind of position, and so like that type of injustice or falling away because of things like that, like ticks me off, and I hate that.
Yeah.
There has been falling away because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but like I jam with it. I just hate the subject and the topic of the song.
Hey,
Yeah.
Side note: has Steve and Jason, have y'all only been able to see Drew this whole time? Trillium.
Well, I have actually
Oh yeah.
enlarged their screen so I could see both of them.
It's
And
just because of
all
how
us are small.
I'm still in it in the actual recording, but
Oh no, I
Just
didn't
on the
want to
edge.
see you. I just wanted to let you know that I
have
only
loved
see
looking
Drew.
at Drew this whole time.
Yeah, well,
So Dan, what's
Yeah.
your least favorite? What you got?
Mary Jane.
Okay.
None of it speaks to me.
You don't say.
I wouldn't say none of it speaks to me, but like if you've listened to this podcast, if you know me, when I listen through, it's kind of like a first take is how I hold on to a lot of it. And the first time I listened to this, like that first opening, I'm just like, okay. And then her vocals, and I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna try lyricism after Head Over Feet, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I kept skipping it.
I feel that. Steven, what you got? I was skipping a lot of this album, just so you know.
Well,
Steven, what you got for us?
which ones are not singles?
Yeah. I was gonna say Mary Jane.
We
Because
agree on something, man.
You
I agree
can
with
double. We can double on least favorites. We just can't
Yeah.
double on favorites.
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and agree with Mr. Dan on Mary Jane. I didn't care
Mr.
for it
Dan.
either.
Very
So,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, this
Mr.
one
Danisette to you.
was oh, I didn't even notice you changed your name there. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like Mary Jane had like there was like an attempt at a ballad a little bit in areas which I didn't care for, but yeah, it didn't speak to me, just like you, Dan.
I sometimes speak to you.
No, I mean you.
Yeah.
I mean your opinion, just like Dan's opinion.
Dan never speaks directly to Steven. It's always through the
Yeah.
third person.
He always we speak through our agents who
That's right.
represent us.
Jason, will you tell Steven that I really
Hey, Steven. So Dan wanted me to tell you what my least favorite was.
Oh,
Yeah.
Drew. So
and-
Jason and Dan wanted you to tell Steven.
Come.
I'm
All right,
lost.
so mine. Pick your favorite single that I disliked. I had to go with "You Learn." Right when you hit that intro line, I'm like, okay, we are doing the same thing that every '90s song has done, and the vocals the same. Then I was like,
There's
okay,
the fight button.
dude, fight me all day long. Make that your favorite. It just like
It's
as
more
soon
for
as I
Dan, not
heard
for
it
me,
click
but-
in, I was like,
Oh my
okay,
gosh,
Most-
what are you doing?
like generic '90s intro and song that we could get to is how I felt.
It is a little like little cranberries ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like the Cranberries, so
Yeah, but the Cranberries, they do this squeaky seagull thing really well, and I don't think Alanis
they're
has quite
Irish.
mastered it. Yeah, yeah.
so yeah.
Get
You
cranberry
can
juice.
hate me or you can love me.
Oh, I'm
You can
so
probably do neither, but that's my least favorite. And then we're gonna reverse the order. I'm gonna go ahead and give you my favorite.
wow.
my
Oh my
favorite-
gosh.
So this is the funny, ironic thing. It has nothing to do with the lyrics because I was fine. I wasn't fine with the lyrics of this. I was just kind of null to all the lyrics of this whole album. And so I actually musically was most vibing with Forgiven. Though I agree with Jared.
Interesting.
I agree with Jared. I'm not there lyrically. I don't agree.
Sure. Yeah.
But like I felt like it was the most redeeming quality of any of the songs in here. I just like it had build, it had like it went somewhere, it went places. It was just a vibe. And I was also a thing that I said this whole album. If I could get, I don't know who, if I could get just somebody else to sing it, I think it would be a absolutely glorious song. Or if we could get her to sing it a few years later, be a wonderful song. Be great. But yeah, so not lyrically at all, not there, but just as a song with vibes, I'm down with the vibes of
Gotcha.
Forgiven.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm
let's-
done with that.
We're swinging it back. The tire swing is going out. It's going back. Steven, what you got? What's your favorite?
Let's see. I'm never like one of the first to do the favorites, so I can steal everybody else's favorite right from the get-go.
That's right.
Okay, that was great. So Dan, what was your favorite?
Well, this is still
Hey,
Steven
Steven,
speaking here.
this is Dan's turn.
Dan
Thank you,
said
Steven.
always taking my thunder. But I will say
Whoa.
You Ought to Know.
You ought to know.
Ooh.
Yeah, You
Oh,
Ought to
see,
Know.
he did take
or-
mine.
Yeah,
He did take
so-
mine. Look at that.
Yeah.
We're on
I
the
think
same
it's,
page today,
I think it's
Steven.
safe to say that me and Dan are enemies now. So
Wait.
What?
We're only enemies when we agree.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If you could disagree a little more, that would
Yeah.
really help this friendship.
Yeah.
Well, I can do that. Don't you worry.
Let's see how much you can disagree. What's your favorite song, Dan?
You learn. If it's not,
See, that's
You
what
Oughta Know.
I'm saying.
It's You Learn.
Word.
And what is yours? Because I gave my reasons for dislike. What's your likes? What's your
I think this is one of the this one and You Oughta Know, I think are actually the only songs in this album that I really feel like she owns.
Mm.
That if anyone else sung it, I would feel like it was missing something. Like I think it needed some of her like youth or some of the angst or whatever it is. Like I feel like she adds what it needs. That's how I feel about those two songs. There's some of the other singles I like, but those two in particular were my favorites. And if I can't repeat You Oughta Know, then it is definitely You Learn.
well, you can't. So it's good.
Yeah.
what a jerk!
Repeat it for posterity, but not for our Spotify playlist that has all of our favorite songs. So, Jarrett, how would you find that on Spotify? Can you find it through our Instagram, I believe?
You can find
Correct.
it through our Instagram, and it is the GOAT_pod. And if you somehow missed that right now when I said it, it's also in the outro with more music surrounding it.
Yeah. So, Jarrett, what was your favorite song? What is making our favorites playlist from you?
Dude, I got to go with Perfect.
That's all right.
it was pretty medium for me, actually.
Pretty
I
okay.
those verses are just really catchy. Like we were listening to it earlier when we were making some enchilada soup for dinner, and
Very nice.
I just like
Very nice.
kept singing
TMI.
along. TM. You don't even know what it's made with.
Love.
Enchilada soup? That's like
Chicken.
I'm
enchilada soup.
making burrito soup. What is that? Doesn't make any sense. Enchiladas is the delivery method is a tortilla. It's not soup.
Hey, you come back to Colorado, I'll show you. We also made bread. Drew, what was
Enchilada
your
soup is my
favorite?
least favorite. I'm gonna change it.
Man. Drew, what do you got? What was your favorite?
Okay, so here's the thing, guys.
Here's the thing.
I do not remember a lot of this album.
Dude, I feel that.
I didn't know I was doing this until
2 minutes ago.
yeah.
All right, well,
not
just
too long
look at
ago.
those.
So I was gonna go with I really liked Perfect as well, but the only other one that really kind of stood out from the pack for me, I guess, was Mary Jane.
Oh,
I'm surprised we didn't get Hand in My Pocket in any of
Yeah, actually.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
likewise.
yeah.
these. But it didn't get thrown out
it's
there.
not-
It doesn't
it's
make
not
the
in there.
playlist. It's not in the playlist. You
Yeah.
have to find it on
Shoot.
your own. So, Mary Jane, making the playlist. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do
What's the
everybody's
opposite of thank you?
favorite. You're
Curse you?
welcome.
Yes, curse you, Drew.
Curse you.
Curse you, Drew.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Bless you,
Here's what everybody's been waiting for. Album ranker.
Oh,
For those
snap.
that may have missed the bonus album, I put where did I put it? Where am
You
I?
put
at? Where's
Dirty
my note?
Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. I
second
put it
from the
second to
bottom.
last. Second from the bottom. And go listen to the bonus pod. It'll explain why it's there.
Sure.
Not a dislike of the music. Just give it a listen. I won't restate it here. But I will restate that it's up to, well, Drew, you can't participate sadly in this one because they throw our
Honorary.
numbers incredibly off. But you can listen along as Jarrett begins by saying where he ranks this album in his album ranker.
Man, this is difficult. Like, I gotta give her credit for writing all of this album. Like
Yes.
every single song, which she co-wrote with Glenn Ballard, but she wrote every song. So I'm gonna put this below Dangerous at my
Wow,
number
okay.
10.
So number 11 of now 16. To believe we're 16
Number 10?
albums in.
Or below, yeah, number 11.
Sorry,
Of
no, you're
15?
right. It is 10 of 15. I'm counting by cells, not by numbers.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
10 of 15.
My number's
you're right.
10.
You're right. Number 10 out of 15.
If you're seeing the sheet, it makes sense why we got confused.
Yeah. All right. So Jarrett's got there. Let's go to Dan. Dan, what you got?
I had to do some like soul searching on this one because so much of how I felt about this is nostalgic.
Hey,
Oh.
we can use nostalgia for album ranker.
It's true.
I don't think that is enough for me for this one to be higher on my list. I'm gonna actually put it. I have Dangerous lower than Jarrett does, but I'm gonna put it below Dangerous as well at my number 13.
Okay. Well, Steven, I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm gonna say, and all surprise to everybody, this one is going edited last, right behind Brothers in Arms, which I never
Behind
believed I would have
Brothers
said.
in Arms. Wow.
That's
Brothers in
crazy.
Arms,
Man.
I was not a fan in the slightest, and Jagged Little Pill, you done did it for me. Whew. It says
Wow.
Jagged Little Phil. Typo.
Wait, that's so funny.
Somebody
Somebody needs to
fix
talk
it.
to Tallman about this. Oh my gosh.
Jagged Little
Oh, man, if
Phil.
you're listening, you got to fix that.
Wait, he
No,
he
you gotta leave
probably
it.
ideally he knew.
I hope he did. I really hope he did. Oh, that's so great.
Maybe it was
That's
Mrs. Tallman.
hilarious.
She did it.
I need
It was
to
the name,
I need to
that
text him.
everybody wished it had been. So, Steven, I
Jagged
said I would
Little-
let you finish. Steven, where are you placing this in your album?
Thank you,
ranker?
Steven. It
Whoa. Placing this above Baby One More Time, below Dirty Dancing.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Let's see how this shook out.
wow.
Still
even,
at the top, Abbey Road number 1.
Mm.
Then 21 by Adele number 2. Metallica by nonetheless, but Metallica number 3. We do have a tie at 4. Was this
Yeah.
the case before, or is
Yeah.
it
It
was.
Oh, yeah, no, we had this before.
It showed
Supernatural.
up, it broke up, and now it's back again.
Yeah,
Ooh.
That's
Supernatural and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band at number 4. Number 6, we have Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. 7, Let's Talk About Love, Celine Dion. 8, let's go with The Wall. Thank you, Jarrett.
You're welcome.
By
Golly.
Pink Floyd. Where are we at? Number 9, Born in the USA. Number 10, Dangerous by Michael Jackson. 11, Falling Into You, Celine Dion. Part 2. 2 Celine Dion so far. We're going to have more artists repeating soon. Number 12, Dirty Dancing. Number 13,
Jagged
new to the
Little
list,
Phil.
Jagged Little Phil. At 14, everyone's favorite, ...
Ellipses.
Baby,
dot.
one more time.
Baby one more time. Yeah.
Um,
And then,
well, not everyone's favorite because never mind.
yeah, exactly. And everyone's least favorite,
Could
except
have
for
been an
me,
email.
is the greatest email album of time, Brothers in Arms. So I think we can all agree that this album was not so good, but I can promise you the next album, it's going to be bad. And that's because it's bad by Michael Jackson, and I can guarantee you this. Bad will be ranked
It's-
higher than this
it's-
album.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be a tough
This
one.
is going to be,
It's
we're going to
bad in a
start
good
having
way.
battles up at the top
Yeah.
after this album.
Uh,
Bad by Michael Jackson.
I think just to give y'all a little taste of what we're about to walk into.
Ooh.
I think, if
smack
I'm
roll.
remembering correctly, that this. Sorry, I'm trying to type and speak at the same time. So I think that this album has 7 songs that hit number 1.
Daggum.
Ooh.
This album,
Wow.
That's some
I
who am I
think
trying to
that's
think of?
right.
Michael Jackson
that's
is
some
good at
Bruno
music.
Mars stuff.
Yeah.
That's some
It's some
Wow.
Michael Jackson stuff.
Hey.
Whoa.
dude. Go do the song math. Like almost 50% of songs that Bruno Mars has put out have hit number 1. It's kind of crazy.
It's
But
incredible. And now, Bruno Mars is great.
nonetheless, the first one to do it, the one that led the way, was Michael Jackson.
That's
And
right.
still, I'm not trying to compare Bruno Mars to Michael Jackson. I want to make that very
Better not.
clear. I'm just saying the hitting the top charts thing.
Yeah.
So heck yeah. So that'll be our next album. Drew, thank you for joining us all the way from Florida.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I have one question.
Yes.
What's your favorite Florida man story?
Favorite Florida man story?
And it can't be about yourself.
Man, that's tough.
Or at
I
least
think
the
it's-
first Florida man story that comes to mind. That's good too.
First one that comes to mind, I think it was Florida, where the guy like sniffed the bath salts and turned into a zombie.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm in there.
gosh.
I remember that.
Mondays, am I right, fellas?
Monday.
Man.
Well,
You can take
that's
the man
so
out of
great.
Florida, but you can't take the Florida out of the man.
Yes,
am I
sir.
right?
You know it.
Steven, it's that time. And I think this is the time,
My
it's
favorite.
your time.
Yeah. So this is Steven's corner. My favorite kind of pizza is bacon pineapple, and instead of marinara sauce, it's barbecue sauce. And a lot of people
Thank you, Stephen. Well, that concludes this episode of the Goat Pod. If you enjoyed this or didn't, feel free to let us know by emailing us at thegoatpodemail@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at thegoat_pod. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time.